sound that says recording is in progress. It has been a while since the three of us have gathered together for a recording, but if we're together for a recording, that means it's time to talk about Detroit Pistons basketball. It is Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, year of our Lord, and we are currently now halfway through game 5 of the Pistons regular season. It is wild that we are 5.5 months since we've last recorded. Garrett Comet's here, joined as always, first off by Majors Detroit Maestro himself, Adam Hernandez, and our, subject matter expert on Pistons and basketball. Much like Sean Spence for Make City Make Spence, we always direct cat picks. Just go to, this gentleman's like social media stuff and see Detroit Pistons basketball being talked. Matt Feldbush, welcome back. How are you, good sir?
Thank you guys for having me back. I didn't realize it had been 5.5 months. That's kind of crazy, but I mean, I'm happy that basketball's back. It's been uh, it's been a long wait, and I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to talk Pistons. It's been too long, and we got a lot
Hell
we
yeah.
got we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. It's already hard to believe that we're 7 days ago this regular season started in Chicago, and it was a Detroit Pistons coming off that great 30 win turnaround, for only team in NBA history to triple their win total from the previous season, losing 6 games in a hard fought series with the New York Knicks, who made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, despite them being down by double digits against Boston while we were recording that game. While we were recording our last episode,
Hmm.
and we had an off season that was a little bit entertaining, so to speak, and the what was a the with the Malik Beasley's gambling probe, which is yet to be solved by the NBA, which unfortunately means for right now Malik Beasley is unable to sign with anybody, although he is still looks like training is still in the city, playing at Callahan Hall. So maybe the new Zadarius Smith situation, like at the offseason compared for the Lions. Tim Hardaway Jr. Gone in the offseason as well. Dennis Schroeder gone. In Recarius LeVert, in Duncan Robinson, in Javante Green, Chaz Lanier drafted. Um, and so far in the first five, and what we were expecting, Jaden Ivey coming back from injury. One preseason game, Ivy's on the shelf again currently. I believe it's a minimum 4 weeks from when that took place. Marcus Sasser, however, was also is also been on the shelf. Karis LeVert was out for a couple of games, back tonight. So Matt, as we're now a few games in, how would you rate this Pistons off season as far as additions to departures and like where any concerns that you're seeing right now in this current setup of the squad with the Jaden Ivey setback and also Marcus Sasser being out?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, obviously it's early. It's tough always to grade what these guys are doing. I mean, it's a new team, it's a new scheme. It's obviously going to be tough. Karras knew JB when he was in Cleveland, obviously, and Karras and Duncan know each other from their time at University of Michigan. I think I'd have to go with like a C, honestly. A lot of people were, I think, freaking out about the worry about replacing those guys. And like, yes, I mean,
So
Malik
Simone Fontecchio also gone too.
Smalley Fontecchio, who really didn't do as much as we probably would have liked him to that last season, but he's shooting better in Miami than Duncan's shooting. So um, I think there still needs to be time. I think the Malik Beasley situation is obviously that really put a wrench in their stuff. I mean, that happened 2 days before free agency opened,
Yeah.
something like that. Like that was such a last moment thing that no team could possibly have been prepared for. I think given the shock and having to kind of really readjust their plans, I think Trajan did a pretty good job, all things considered. But I think that right now they aren't performing the way we'd like, but I think it's still really early in the season. I think Duncan is a fantastic three-point shooter. always has been, and I think always will be. Um, Karras, I'm not really sure. I think again, because he was injured for a couple games, it's been tough to really see him insert into this lineup, but I think he could really be the Dennis Schroeder that we lost. And my hope is that Chaz Lanier, he's not going to get a lot of minutes probably to start, but I think that he's a bucket getter too. I think that the absence of Ivy and Sasser are really a huge loss, obviously, in terms of scoring impact. Marcus Sasser is really quite an underrated shooter. He's an ISO king. Like he can, if he wants to get a bucket, Marcus Sasser will get a bucket.
And I also feel like too that Ivy and Sasser to me are your guys that can cut, are your guys that can create the spacing. That for a team like that needs as much spacing as possible, because without those two, it's either Cade or maybe Ron Holland to me are your like I mean, I've seen Asar Thompson a little bit with there, and we'll get to there because there's some great things I've seen so far with both Asar and Ron in there. But I feel like to me, your slashers aren't we're short on slashers right now, with Ivy and Sasser out.
Yeah, and I think Duncan can do that. I think he's been developing that a lot more lately, especially with someone like Duran, who, let's be clear here, is not Bam Adebayo, but they both have great passing chops. I think they both can function offensively very similarly. Obviously, Duran has perhaps an even impossible hill to climb to get as good as Bam is on the defensive end.
Right.
Um, but I think there's more to Duncan's game lately than there used to be in terms of being a lot more mobile, not necessarily off the ball because he has that kind of Steph ability to get to his spot and get the ball in his hands and has a quick release, but to really be mobile towards the paint area. So I think the addition of Jaden Ivey for sure will help with that. It seems sometimes like they've been getting these games to start very lackluster in terms of
Yeah.
effort and hustle
Cold
and
at the
maybe
cold shooting to start off.
cold shooting to start off, which really puts them in a hole, or just stupid fouls, which seems to be their issue every single year, and just poor shooting. So I think if Ivy can replicate even shooting 40% from three was probably untenable for the whole season, but if
Right.
he can stick in that 37 to 39% range, that's a huge boon to this team.
Where do you see? What's your thoughts on like two other names I left? I mean, Javante Green, who we've been seeing coming in off the bench so far, and a guy that seemed to have a pretty good preseason, has featured a couple times, Denise Jenkins.
Javante Green, I was not terribly familiar with him before we signed him. And it seemed like one of those that's like, oh, he's like the 14th roster spot, whatever. We needed to fill a spot. But he has really been hustling on the court when he's in the game. I think that besides Stu, AT, and Ron, I'd say that Javante Green has given the most to this team. He's really, I felt like, understood his what's being asked of him when he comes off the bench. And it's just kind of a spark plug. I don't know what his shooting has really been like. I unfortunately have not been able to watch more than two of the games so far. But it's the hustle, it's the steals, it's harassing the defender or the offensive guy that he's guarding. I think
Right.
he's been a great addition to this team, just fit and culture wise. And then Jenkins, oh my God, I think Dennis honestly has really impressed me. He was very impressive in preseason, and I think that he doesn't look out of place playing NBA basketball players more frequently than he used to.
Do you feel like he might, if he's getting some minutes in there, he can kind of help with the we're having a missing Ivy or Sassa right now? Because it seems like he has the ability to play multiple positions, and shifts depending on the type of lineup that we roll out at times, just based off of the type of thing on there. And he seems like somebody to me that can kind of move around a little bit more than Chaz Lanier, like as far as like, being all over the court.
Yeah, Chaz seems like I don't want to lessen his game and say that he's just be around the perimeter and someone will find you and you shoot a three. I don't think that's what he's good at. He's very good at that. That was his bread and
Uh,
butter at Tennessee. But
defense as well from his time
yeah,
there too.
yeah. And again, like there's nothing wrong with having a really good 3-and-D player on your team too. Like if that's all that Chaz becomes, that's not a bad thing. We got him in the second round.
Yeah.
Like fine. I mean, I feel like he's probably already more useful to us than Bobby is. Um, for Bo- I mean, I don't know what Bobby's path to success in the NBA is really, but um, I think Chaz and Dennis are really going to be those guys, the younger guys that are going to be most helpful. And even like someone like Tolu Smith, who probably won't get a lot of time here because he's basically center number four.
Which
Uh,
I think is an interesting point. I think let's because I think it's I noticed the first 5 game, like 4.5 games that we've had in. And to me, it seems like the physical play, which I love that a lot wasn't called in the Knicks series, seems to have is continuing on. Like it's a combination of, and maybe this part sarcastically has to do with the NBA and NBC theme and graphic package coming back and everything. Like it's basketball from our childhood all over again.
Round ball rock, baby.
Yeah, but there's this like it seems to me that in addition to all the spacing and the yes, 3-point shooting and everything like that, like there's it seems like a little allowance more physicality. Like you're gonna have to like grind a little like you're gonna get to your spot, but there's gonna be contact and a lot of times. And it's especially the game against Houston, I thought, on last Friday. And it might have to do with how Houston lines up. I think in opening night, their smallest player in the lineup was 6'10", 6'11", something like that. Or it might have been Amin. Amin might have
I
been the
think it was a
smallest guy.
man at 6'7", but then yes, I think the rest were all at least 6'10" or taller. Yeah,
And
which is
it makes,
crazy.
yeah. And you're talking about like, so Duran as your starting center, Isaiah Stewart, who coming out, who was missed significantly when he went off in game 1 of the playoffs against the Knicks, but our popped 20 points off the bench on opening night, helped him and Ron Holland being that spark to turn a horrific start. You and I have very similar feelings about about whenever we lose to the Chicago Bulls and certain players on the Chicago Bulls.
Yep.
And your favorite Chicago Bull got a triple double that night. So, um,
Gross.
yeah, absolutely disgustingly gross. So but that game remains a blowout if it's not for Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland.
100%.
And then in Houston, when we definitely didn't have our head on a swivel with fouls, you lose Duran early with the flagrant two. It was B-ball Paul Reed shining. I think had 13 points that night.
And a
And
game-saving block.
yeah. Um so where you mentioned, so like I felt like a couple of years ago we tried to go the double big method when in a out past the time with Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. It didn't work to the levels imagined. But I feel like now when I see Isaiah Stewart being very, very comfortable from three, more like Duran starting, Greg Kelser wanting Jalen Duran to take shots more 20 feet away. If it's
Hmm.
everything in that thing on there. Um, in a era of the NBA where spacing is key and being able to shoot is key from anywhere in the court, is it interesting in a way that our success relies on being a bigger with the amount of big guys that we got? Duran, Stu, B-ball, Paul. And if we tend to see more of even I mean, and even Ron Holland is kind of a small four in a way,
Hmm.
right? But and or if Bobby or Tolo feature at all in like they featured on Monday, but that was because Monday was a blowout.
Yeah. Yeah, I when I'm at the game on Sunday against the Celtics, the most interesting lineup to me was when JB trotted out Cade, Ron, Asar, Isaiah, and Duran. Because in theory, that's a lineup where you're like, none none of these guys are shooters.
Right.
But Ron has really stepped up in terms of his three-point shooting this year. Isaiah stepped back in terms of volume last year, but there was that season think his fourth season. I think that Monty Williams season where he was really allowed to let loose from three, and he
Yeah,
really was really quite successful from the three-point line um, that year. I think it, and again, the spacing thing often does come down to the idea of having a shooting threat, but you have to keep an eye on Asar at all times. You have to keep an eye on Ron at all times because of their ability to get to the basket, even without the ball. Even if they have the ball on the three-point line, like they're able to, with the gravity that Cade provides, and then Asar just kind of keeping back and then getting the ball at pass to him. Well, that's for a lot of good driving opportunities. And I think part of why I think that we need to have so many bigs in our lineup is because of the foul trouble that Duran and Stu find themselves in so often. Like,
yeah.
unfortunately, it's just, I think, how they play and how they're judged on the court. But I think JB is going to have to be quite versatile with this offense and the lineups that we trot out because it seems like we have so many guys that could go cold, and it could be a thing of next man up who can really make an impact in the lineup, like B-ball Paul, even if it's like 9 points, like that's a nice addition to have.
Yeah.
Someone who will hustle for every rebound. That's what B-ball Paul will do.
Adam, I'm going to pop you a quick question just from what you've seen in these first handful of games right there. Is there a Pistons player that has kind of surprised you in a good or a bad way so far when you've either seen highlights or if you've taken a look at the box score or anything in particular?
Honestly, not really. I mean, and this is kind of the way that I thought that the season would start. Um, I thought things would start out slow, especially with Jaden Ivey being out, um, to start the season. So, um, I think it's a really, really predictable start to the season for them. And obviously that the Jaden Ivey thing hurts though. That hurts considering he missed half the season last year. Would he go down in
New Year's Day
on New
New
Year's
Year's Day.
Day? Yeah, New Year's Day.
against the Magic, go figure. Like we're 10 months later or these guys are playing them. So,
Yeah. So, I mean, I think things are very predictable right now. And unfortunately, this is more valuable time missed for a guy like Jay Ivey who who unfortunately in his young career hasn't seen a lot of the floor. He was for some reason in the doghouse with Monty Williams and getting passed over for, God, what's his face?
Killian Hayes.
Killian Hayes.
Adam's
And
already wiped him from his memory. I get it.
yeah, it's already gone. Um,
We passed on
and
Tyrese Halliburton for that, I think.
yeah,
I think
and
Halliburton was that draft.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh God. Ugh.
and then when he finally gets a coach who's ready to play him and giving him an opportunity and he looks good too, on the floor. I mean, what he hit that game-winning shot. I
A
forgot who it was
4 point
again.
play on boxing on day after Christmas to get Mike
Yeah,
Brown fired in Sacramento.
Yeah.
yep. And he a week later he goes down with that injury. So it's unfortunate. But I'm banking on Jaden Ivey coming back and playing a significant role on this team, something that we've all been wanting to see since uh he was drafted, and that pairing with Cade. And so that's what I'm looking for, but forward to. But again, I think things have been pretty predictable to start this season. Obviously, shooting troubles, that opening game. I think that's going to continue to plague them without one of their um what we anticipate better players currently being on the shelf right now.
Yeah. Um, I got three players in my mind, and whether Matt for sure, Adam, if you want after, I got three players in my mind that I'm seeing right now, that are who obviously Kate Hunningham's going to get all the attention, going to get the majority of the attention from both here and national. But as far as being, let's do ranked choice voting because we're all, big pro ranked choice guys in 2025 in this channel here. Most integral of these from players, first being the first to third on there.
Okay.
Um, to this team's success this season. Asar Thompson, Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland.
I think it is Asar first, Ron second, Isaiah third. And that's not to minimize the impact that Stu has. I think everybody who knows ball understands the impact that Stu has. I would wager that for the size of the player, there is no defender in this league that is better at guarding the rim than Isaiah Stewart. Wemby, I mean, come on, he's up approximately 7'7" at this point. We don't even
Wemby's
know
a
how
cheat
tall.
code.
We don't
Wemby's
even
a
know how tall
cheat
he
code.
is. He's a cheat code. It doesn't count. I mean, if you are that tall, you should be the best defender in the rim at the league in the league.
Yeah.
Isaiah is 6'8" and is
Plays like 7'2".
plays like 7'2", just is willing to get posterized because he knows that it will probably happen 25% of the time that he goes up for a block.
Yeah.
The other 75% of the time he will put you on the ground. And you need somebody like that. Like he is a great, especially on the defense. It's great to have somebody like that who can combine with Ron or Asar. The thing about Ron is really the hustle, the energy. He just,
The ability to drive because his that I was talked about it before, his front, his north south, the ability to see a gate, how quick he can close space.
yeah. He's not as fast as Jaden Ivey. Very few people on this earth are when they have the basketball in their hands. But
Right.
Ron knows where to go when there's a quick opportunity on the other end of the floor. And he knows how to put the ball in the basket once he tries. And if he won't, then he'll get fouled. I mean, I think a lot of people, when Ron was drafted, were really unsure of what that meant for this team. Kind of the argument that, oh, we already have a SAR. We don't need another good defender who can't shoot. And okay, I guess I can see that, but like they are very different players. I think in the long run, when you really look at them and how they play and how they've developed, Ron's three-point shooting is already really ticked up compared to last year. Um, and I think Asar I think, doesn't need an explanation as to why he is the X factor on this team. He put the clamps on arguably the best point guard in the entire league in the playoffs last year in his first ever playoff series after missing 3 months of the season.
Also came back this day Ivy got hurt on New Year's Day.
Yeah. I, the things that he can do outside of his shooting, I think that he could be one of those players that could be an all-star, that could be a Hall of Famer without ever having a three-point shot.
Yeah.
He's shown already that he can kind of get to the elbow, get to the mid paint, and make some buckets there, which is a great first step. I mean, at this point, everyone knows mid-range two is the least efficient shot possible in the sport of basketball. So, I mean, do you even need to have a mid-range two in your game at this point? I mean, who knows? But the threat that Asar has at any given moment, off or on ball, or guarding the ball, or off defending off the ball, like he's just such an intelligent player that any misgivings you might have about his three-point shooting are, I think, just squashed by what he can do everywhere else. And I think a lot of people gave Asar a lot of crap because he's not a men, but their trajectories so far have been so unlike each other. Amen's been able to play on a very, very good team. I guess that first year they weren't great, but last year they were the second best team in the very, very tough West.
Yeah.
Like, that's not nothing. now he gets Kevin Durant, um, Alperen Şengün, like these are great guys he gets to work with, and he had a fully healthy season for both seasons. Asar has not gotten that. He's basically combined for maybe one full season, and you could say that he's a better defender and not quite there on the offensive end. And at this point, if their trajectories do now align, and where Amen is at the end of two seasons is where Asar is at the end of two seasons offensively, plus the growth in the defensive end, I think Asar is going to be the better player in the end. So
Uh,
I think you have to get Asar on the court as much as possible because we're going to need him on the court as much as possible.
there is when I was doing the night recap stuff from the first game, obviously you look at like your leading scorers and you had Cade and you had Stu and Ron, but then I looked at like I got Ausar Thompson's game log right in front of me for the first four. He's already in double digits tonight in the game in the
Yep.
game that's taking place right now with Orlando. Game one against the Bulls, 33 minutes played, 5 of 8 shooting from the field, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. So already a balanced performance in that game where you could see him being able to, the way he can create and drive is unique. How he gets to the hoop is unique when you look at the roster of this team. In Houston, playing his twin, the FUD banter and all that, especially, a team that has upped its game with Durant and Schengen
Hmm.
can pop threes. Schengen can shoot threes like a one or a two or a two or three, just insane for his size.
He's like a
Uh,
much better Brooke Lopez already, which is crazy.
Yeah, and Brooke Lopez, piston wrecker over the years.
Yep.
Um, and the fact that Schengen's doing that now is so scary. But in Houston, Asar was 9 of 16 from the field in 24 minutes played. I think he had a little bit of trouble in foul early on. Two fouls in like the first couple minutes, if I remember that game right. 19 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal. Did take a three. It was 1 of 3 from the field. And then the home opener, which you were at on Sunday,
Hmm.
7 of 16 from the field, but 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 7 of 8 from the foul line.
That's what's important.
So really, and a slow start by the Pistons on Sunday, very similar to that game against Chicago, down by 17 at one point, but beat
Yeah.
him, Asar and Jalen Duren, because Jalen Duren went 12 of 13 from the line, which was also insane to think about.
Yeah.
When you look at foul shooting, I think was a crutch for this team in the postseason last year. When they had the opportunities at the line, they didn't convert, especially with how tight the margins turned out to be in those 6 games. Um, Obviously, Monday, a rough night again by everybody in general against the Cavs.
Yeah.
Asar had 15 minutes, but he did go 3 of 6 from the field that day, and he had 3 rebounds. But foul trouble. By then, it was essentially, rough and everything in general on that. So let me look here where game log, ESPN might not be up type on there. Okay, cool. They are up to date. So Asar right now, 20 minutes played, 9 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, a block, a steal, only 1 turnover. Not a great shooting night, but balance. You know, I tell this to my old coworker why I won their fantasy basketball league despite being the old goat is you can't just rely on scores. You need guys that can do everything.
Yeah.
Your rebounding, your assists, those guys there. And if you get somebody that's middle of the pack scoring, higher above middle in the pack rebounding, assist, that's almost better to me than having a stud score.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
also, I don't think it will be long before Asar gets his first triple double either.
yeah.
The assist will probably be the hardest part just because of the fact that Cade is on this team and will have the ball mostly, but They've been allowing Asar to take the ball up the court quite frequently, and when Kate is on the bench, I just but that first game stat line with Chicago, where he was only what 2 rebounds, 1 rebound, and like 3 assists short of a triple double, like
Yeah,
it
one
will
assist. I
belong.
think it. Yeah, it's. I think it was. I think it was 9 boards and 7 assists against the Bulls. Let me look here.
So I mean,
Yeah, 9 boards, 7 assists. So
he's right there. I mean, for a third year player, who again, I remind people who probably has only played a full season at this point, um, to
And
be
I
on
wouldn't have thought,
triple
and I
double
didn't think
watch.
of him as a scorer either, too. I thought of him just as shutdown presence.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to start averaging. I think he'll be up to like 16, 17 points averaging this year once he really gets his stuff figured out. So the
And
league's
that's
not ready.
yeah, no. And the fact if you do that, that's way ahead of projection. Adam, do you want to take a crack at this rank choice?
I didn't have I didn't have anything different from Matt, but I will say this too. Um, Again, looking back at last season, since we've only played a few games so far this year, I was really impressed with Ron Holland last year, in the playoffs, even though he didn't see a ton of time. And I think the most points he scored was like, I can't remember exactly which game it was, but I think it was like 6 points or something like that. But he saw like 12 minutes of time in that particular game. What I was most impressed with was his New York's inability to mentally face him, it seemed.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, he was going into Madison Square Garden and not backing down on one of the biggest stages in the NBA in one of the most critical points in the year, in the season. And I loved it. I loved how he was able to go in there and just not back down against a more experienced Knicks team, and a pretty hostile environment in MSG. So I was very, very encouraged by that because when they drafted Holland, um,
We were at Keyworth. I remember this in the media tent when this draft happened, and we were all like, I was shocked who because I wasn't sure who Ron Holland was.
but it was, I mean, and it was more so like it was a project for them, it seemed like. I mean, it seemed like that was a project pick for them. A guy that wasn't going to see a whole lot of time, in his first season. Um, but I think things have progressed nicely, I think, with Ron Holland, and much quicker than what I anticipated, just because of, I don't want to say the type of player, but where Ron Holland was as a player when he was drafted by the Pistons.
Hmm.
So,
It's
um,
a different guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That
think,
game, that game you were talking about, Adam, game 3 of the first round against the Knicks, he only took two. He played 12 minutes, which was the most minutes he played.
Hmm.
He was 0-2, but he all 6 of his points were from the foul line, and he was 6 of 6 that night.
ooh,
Yeah.
because that reminds me of that game when they were playing the Bucks
And he missed
and
all
he
three to
missed.
when he could have made one, and we would have ended the streak against the Bucks.
You could tell he was
We
really
were at LCA the
flustered.
night before because that was NBA Cup game.
Gotcha. You could tell he was flustered, and you can also see the mental fortitude of not squaring up on people like against Jordan Clarkson when we played the Jazz.
Yeah.
I'm happy that he's a fighter. I think that's
I think
integral
the
to why
Minnesota game last year, because that was the game where
he got thrown on the ground, and that's the only game he got. Because of that game,
he
he
stood his
missed the
ground in
one
that
game.
moment. He's kind of in there. Thankfully, he
Yeah.
had Malik and Stu. Unfortunately, Stu's reputation. Because what was it? Was it Malik and who all got it?
No,
What was it?
Sasser. Sasser went straight in there. Sasser was on top.
Fucking love Marcus Sasser.
Yeah.
Fucking
But
love him.
like so like I can't wait. One of the games I'm going to this year is the Knicks, and I hope Ron squares up on Jordan Clarkson when he's on the Knicks this year too, because that'll be a very good game, I think, with them at home against the Knicks. Um, yeah, Ron's just really not at all like he was when we first started seeing him on the court, and I think this will be a really show me year for him too. I think we're going to be pretty impressed by what we see from him.
Yeah. Little thing without going into too deep dive here. I've liked what I've seen from Tobias Harris so far on here. It seems like he's had a stronger start to this season than the last year on there. His shooting's been good. He's been getting there. He's having
Hmm.
a great game today. It seems like he's really taken to the role of being the key unk on this team.
Yep.
Um, and I think that can go a way with, especially in this squad on here. I'm still trying to debate who's got the more gnarliest looking jump shot between Paul Reed and Bill Laimbeer. I think it's an even tie right now.
I give it to Paul.
You're giving
Paul
it
has
to
a
Paul over
wonky
Laimbeer?
shot. He's a wonky shot.
See, I
Almost
always
as
thought
wonky as Franz Wagner's.
I forgot about Franz Wagner's hand because the Franz Wagner keeps getting hurt, so that's why I keep forgetting about. Or is that Mo Wagner? Is that which Wagner? Which Wagner's got the shit? I'm drawing blanks.
Mo
So you're
is the
gonna
one.
you're
Mo is the one that Killian punched in the back of the head last 2 years ago. Mo is the older one. He's a taller one. Franz is better in pretty much every regard. Um,
You know, it's funny when we talked about Killian Hayes, Adam was kind of like channeling that Mariah Carey, like, I don't know him, still don't know him. Who? uh, so the so let's talk real quick about you talked about the Knicks. I think this is a good question for me here. We've had a lot of the Eastern Conference was already primed for the taking when you look at the fact that a 31 turnaround from last year for us saw us get into sixth, played for the five spot on the last day of the regular season. Could have potentially, with a couple that away, could have been a home team with a couple of better results at the end of the season. And then you take a look at what happened in the offseason, in the playoffs. Um, I don't want to channel Led Zeppelin here, but it seems like Achilles' Last Stand would have been the song when you talk about the trend that took place in the playoffs with Damian Lillard,
mhm.
Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, all with Achilles injuries. Um, I think the common thread is had Halliburton didn't get hurt in Game 7 like that, the Pacers might have beaten the Thunder because they were in trajectory. I think they were looking really good in that moment when that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah,
Um, so you have Boston with that Tatum injury, 60-win winner, won the NBA title in the summer 24 in June 24. They made a bunch of moves. Jrue Holiday, Porzingis gone, Al Horford gone. So we saw kind of that Celtics in transition on Sunday. Yes, They still got Jalen Brown who can still burn you. They got Peyton Pritchard's an animal. And can fight, for his side and everything on there. But they're not that Celtics team. And they still got Derek White, of course. Like I can't leave Derek White out for my
yeah.
a consistency for my championship winning fantasy basketball team. So I'll give credit to Derek White there. But you can tell they're not the same old scared Celtics where I'd be scared shitless of them. The Milwaukee Bucks, you lose Lillard, but because of the Halliburton injury to Indiana, Miles Turner goes there in the free agency. And I don't know how many I lost count of when the last time we beat Milwaukee was. That's like the heart. That's like my number one to do if we do this. Like when we do this, let's fucking go train moment. We were sixth in an East when the guys I mentioned still were playing. Is it wrong to expect or feel, gentlemen? I'll ask both of you on this. A top four to at least be home and maybe a 50-win season.
I was thinking about this on my way home from work today because I'm like, what Garrett's going to ask me to talk about, and I think I didn't think you were going to ask me to project a win total. I think the bare minimum goal should be to try to match what we did last year.
Right.
45
44
win,
and 44 and
44,
38 and a
yeah,
6 seed.
45 wins should really be the goal here, no matter what. 50 seems attainable depending on the health of this team, the trajectories of the guys I mentioned earlier, and especially Cade really not starting very well this season. I think I've been kind of pretty upset at the way Cade's been playing. I didn't get to watch him on Monday, and I'm kind of pretty glad I didn't, but it seemed like he was really quite awful.
I think he might have been banged up, but that whole team was out of it.
Yeah. So 50 wins, I think, is attainable. I don't think that a top four finish should be an expectation, but I think it should be a hope, a thing that is feasible for this team. I think the issue with the Pacers and the Celtics facing the injuries of those guys, and especially the Celtics having to blow up their entire team, I think the issue is the ascendance of the Hawks and the Magic, both of whom aren't doing great to start the season.
Right.
But I mean, we started the season 0-5. Like the start of the season doesn't matter. So I am worried more about the Magic than I am the Hawks. The Magic can't score to save their life usually. Um,
Desmond Bane's a great get by him, even though
Desmond
they gave up a
Bane,
lot, but it's a
Pistons
good get.
killer, Desmond Bane as well. Um, I think the Hawks can be a scary team as well, depending on how Kristaps really gets to perform. A top four finish is not infeasible, and I think is probably their ceiling. I think that the Knicks, the Cavs, and one of those Hawks or Magic are probably going to finish higher. Um,
Where do you see Milwaukee?
Milwaukee's tough to gauge because Giannis has been on a freaking insane rampage to start this season, and Giannis always, for some reason, gets counted out. Giannis is the second best basketball player in the world, if you ask me. And I don't know the fit with Miles Turner. He is essentially a younger Brook Lopez in some ways, but I just the rest of that team, Ryan Rollins, Bobby Portis, I
Kyle
mean
Kuzma, AJ Green.
Kyle Kuzma. I'd rather not even talk about that guy, but I think
Kyle Kuzma rides my bench because I can't trust his shooting most nights
I don't
unless
know
I
why
have to
you
start him.
don't know why you drafted him to begin with.
I don't know because he was a good linchpin in a Washington team and then gets traded for Middleton.
Yeah. So the Bucks are always hard to gauge. They're, I think, always going to be in that fifth, sixth range expectation wise. But the sixth seed, I think, should be the bottom of what we accept from this team. Play-in just doesn't seem like a good enough thing for us at this point. Like it feels weird to be saying this now. We're so used to being so dang sour on our guys.
Yeah.
But it's like that first, like that year after the Pistons went or the Lions went 9-8. Like
Then we beat Kansas City to open the
we
year.
beat
We're like,
Kansas City
oh,
to open the
what?
year, and it was like this is a different thing now. It's like this is what we can be. Like we
Or dare we say, just stick it into your brother, beating the Ravens in Baltimore on Monday night.
that was a beautiful game. Beautiful game.
Yeah. You saw
I
your brother a few days after that.
yeah, I don't think he's having a great time. He always is like, oh, I haven't been watching NFL that much lately. I'm like, okay,
They
nice
did
excuse,
beat
but
they did beat the
um,
Bears, so I mean, you got to stick at the puck for that at least.
it's
I don't want to approach Yachty with, I don't want to rub anything in or anything like that. I just,
No, we need him for when we got to talk baseball.
like I don't want to air out my brother on this podcast, but my brother chose to be a Ravens fan like 25 years ago, and it happened, or when probably like right after like, he was in the Jamal, the Ray Lewis era. Like he lucked into rooting for the best possible team to root for when you pick a football team.
Yeah.
The Ravens have never been bad, and he likes to lord it over me that that's the case. And like the Lions are the Lions. It's like, what do you want me to do, dude? Like. I'm happy there. I'm happy we're good. I try not to. I think we choose not to go at each other about football anymore because I am able to actually like make arguments about why the Lions are better. But yeah, it is pretty nice, and it feels good. Like to be able to be a happy Lions fan is a great feeling, and to be a happy Pistons fan again is it's
Much
nice. There,
is there are feelings that happen when you are happy when one is happy when a Pistons sicko is happy about the Pistons. Like
yeah.
I'm brought back to my childhood. I increase listening to the Final Countdown. I search for the instrumental version of the Final Countdown so I can picturing like
Mm,
warm-ups
yeah. Hey,
of games.
I got, let's see what picture is it. Oh, it's actually cut off right here. I got Tayshaun chase down block right here. Hang up on my wall, always to be reminded.
You know what's wild of that game two Eastern Conference Finals because I forgot it was an earlier tip off. I might have told the story in the thing before. So my grandfather, the before the year he passed in the fall of '90, but he was alive when the Pistons won their second NBA title, and he taped. There was two games that were taped in 1990, or the right 1990 regular season. A game for the
Ooh,
Boston Celtics, which Larry Bird scored like 30 something points on, and the Celtics won like 123 to 111. Granted, Joe Dumars was out sick that night. And then the replay of Game Five of the NBA Finals, Vinnie Johnson 007. So I get done watching that whole video, that whole game stuff on there, video there, and I turned it on, and it was the end of Game Two of the Pistons Pacers. Tayshaun blocking Reggie Miller.
heck
Just
yeah.
that whole wild, fun perspective, that full circle greatness circled everything like that. And yeah, it's a wild, like what was a sold out? You were at a sold out LCA for a Pistons home opener. How wild is that to say? And
Well, what's weird is there were several empty seats around us, and you could see some across the benches too, which is like it's 3:30, I guess that's what it is. But this is the season to be hyped. So, especially against a Celtics team that isn't great, like that's a home opener you want to be at.
yeah,
So, a little myth to Pistons fans. Pistons fans are just hard to gauge sometimes too. Sometimes we're the most annoying fan base on Twitter, and also somehow the best fans in the world actually in person.
shout out to Tom Herr, who had looked like the trip of his life coming in there. Also, he might have been at the Wings game I was at Saturday that turned on 4-0. It was 6-4 win.
Yes,
Uh,
he was at that game. I think he's been at both wings because they played yesterday at home too, right?
they were in St. Louis
Oh,
on
okay.
yesterday.
Never mind then. Okay, but yes, he was at that, and man, what a great time he's been having. What a great ambassador.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Adam, your thoughts? Four seed and or 50-win team.
I would agree that they need to match last year's win total, and if they are a play-in team, I think that's a huge, huge disappointment for this season. Uh, I definitely could see them though being a top four team, but it would be a four seed. I mean, I don't see them moving into three and certainly not one or two. I think
Right.
one and two reserve is obviously reserved for Cleveland and the Knicks. Um, but yeah, I also think that the Magic or the Hawks are gonna swap between that three seed. Um, but like you said, Matt, I think the ceiling for them is going to be probably that four in a really, really good season. If they're a three seed in the East, that is really an unbelievable year for them. Um, but I could definitely see them taking a four spot in the East. So
Last question. Do we end the losing streak versus Milwaukee this season?
of course,
Yes.
Hell yeah. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. It's like
Who I believe they play at the last game of the season again.
and that's what
when's
it's
the
gonna come.
I know they're home to Sacramento on my birthday, which is also the same day as the NFC Championship game, so I know that.
Nice.
um,
Well, they've already won on my birthday, so hopefully we can get wins on all our birthdays.
hell yeah. Adam, do they play on your birthday? Or are you a summer? Remind me, are you a summer birthday?
May 5.
Ooh,
So
well,
you're
that'll be
gonna have
playoffs, so yeah.
playoffs. Let's see here what we got. When do we play Milwaukee for the first time? Because I know we're in Dallas. Well, we played Dallas in Mexico City on Saturday, November 1st. By the way, y'all, if you check this out, that's a Peacock game, 10 o'clock Eastern. We
Ooh,
play Milwaukee for the first time in Milwaukee Saturday, November 22nd.
then the
And
6th of
then,
December.
yep, the 3rd and the 6th, we have two games against them in 3 days at home. And then we don't play them again until April 8th.
Last game of the season, I believe. Or at least last home game.
Wow, so do we play like. So Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so two away, two home. Okay. Oh yeah, we ended our home season against Milwaukee in April too. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, let's see here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually looking at that last stretch of games. It's kind of a rough ending to the regular season we got. Um, home to Atlanta, home to the Pels, at Minnesota, at Oklahoma City, home to Toronto, home to Minnesota, at Philly, who I think Philly could be. I don't know if Philly's going to be a play-in team, but I think Philly might be a little bit better than last year, especially if they can keep Embiid and Maxey healthy. Um, then you have your at Orlando, home to Milwaukee, at Charlotte, at Indiana. Could be tough in some of that. Just depends on where we're at in the season. Gents, I think for our first time back at this, we went into it. We had a nice, good flow. We had good tempo. We got all that stuff. Uh, Matt Felbush, where can folks find you to have all the good Pistons talk, the cool banners and graphics, and just to engage all the stuff, fun chats?
Well, you could definitely follow me on Twitter at Matt Feldbush. You can follow me on Blue Sky. I don't think I posted on there in probably over a year, so I wouldn't really follow me on there. But Twitter is the only place I really use, and I'm trying to use it a lot less, or at least posting a lot less, because
It
Yeah.
the
sucks.
more you post, the more you get upset, and like I've learned not to comment on things a lot more lately, and just being like, yeah, you're an idiot. Scroll by, like especially when it comes to sports takes, because everyone's a moron on Twitter with their sports takes. But yeah, I try to tweet about the Pistons. I try not to tweet about too much else. So you can follow me on there if you want to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Adam, are we dropping our little reel about where folks can find us stuff at after this, or should I plug it?
No, we will drop that, so don't worry about it.
ooh, you got pre-recorded.
It
Yeah.
is.
Nice,
Adam
nice.
hit it. Adam hinted it when him and Spence did a two-man make city make speds, and then I was like, "Okay, say no more. Here's 6 videos." So yeah, gents will be good. We'll try not to go 5 months in between the next one. We'll see where we're getting at. Maybe we do another first one when we know when's our first NBA Cup game, or is that not set yet?
That is soon, I believe.
Oh,
That
well,
is against Brooklyn Nets on November 7th.
ooh.
Our first home game
Next
is
week?
against the Sixers.
Okay.
Yeah, our court is also not great, unfortunately. Wait, that says cup nights, but it says that we're playing in our whites. That can't be true.
Wait, we're not. Well, that makes sense because we
Yeah.
Cup
Oh,
nights,
we're
not
away. We're
city.
away. That's why.
First,
The
another date
home
to
ones
look
are away.
forward to. November 11th. City Edition uniforms officially get released and on sale. We already know what they're going to be, but we get to finally find out what if that color is actually a navy blue. I think it is, but for all of us though, and for all of us that are the Pantone Hex sickos, you can at least take a look at that. I know that we had a soft unveil on National Jersey Day, but yeah,
Hmm.
for folks that want to buy it, November 11th, that should be coming out on for there. Yes, the black statement jerseys are back this year. Highly recommend checking out NBA Locker Vision because you can see what uniforms the Pistons are going to be wearing in each of their games this season.
If you actually go to their NBA.com and Pistons page, they will show them there as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, the first big podcast should be when Malik Beasley is cleared of all investigative things, and then he is re-signed by the Detroit Pistons. I mean, that's when we should really have our next episode.
Man, did you see the post they put on Instagram yesterday, I think?
Where he was at Wayne State. Is that the one you're talking
U of
about?
D. Is that U of
U of
D?
D.
No, it was I saw that one too, but it was really like I felt really bad for him just because his life is like in the total shitter right now.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like it's like, oh man, like fuck man. Like sign the guy. Just sign him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sad. I mean, he talked about his divorce and he lost his shoe deal and there's not much he can say right now, even though he wants to say it, and it just sucked. I mean, you hate seeing a guy, you know, his life in the shitter like that right now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope he's able to, get back on his feet. And if it's not the Pistons, get with somebody in the league and, get back to you know, balling out.
Yeah. 100% agree. The I do wonder what last season would have been like if Malik Beasley was not on that roster, whether both on the court and off the court as far as energy. Someone that really like
I mean, he made it seem like he was going to come back to, and I know that's him trying, it just seems like that's him, hoping it into existence. As he talked about, they can't capitalize off the vibes that
Hmm.
they uh they got and created last year just because of everything that's going on. So I just hope his name doesn't come up in this latest massive scandal with the NBA and the gambling and everything like that. I hope his name doesn't come up because that would be uh I mean, it's things have already been completely devastating for him, but that would take it to a completely different level.
yeah. Um, yeah, so obviously we'll be going in there soon. As of right now, too, Cade Cunton, also for a brief update on this, where we're at. Nine, as I could be a little bit behind because Adam knows the FanDuel app on my Xbox tends to be a little bit slow on game days. The Pistons are up 111-97 on the Magic with 9:52 and the chance to make it 15 points if Cade makes this free throw.
114 to
Um,
97.
Yeah,
see, I
Cade's
told you I'm
balling.
behind. Told
Cade's
you I'm
balling
fucking
out.
behind.
Last
Yeah.
last 8 or 10 points for the Pistons right now. It's one of those things where people are like, "Oh, Cade doesn't show up in the fourth quarter." Now Cade only shows up in the fourth quarter,
Cade takes over fourth quarter.
which I'm fine with. Like, please, we need Cade to be the guy in the fourth quarter, so I'm fully fine with it.
Yeah. But yeah, man, shit's wild. The NBA's the Pistons. There's a lot of the fun
There's
vibes are.
if we were to talk about non like Pistons NBA things, we could talk for another hour.
Oh yeah, like it's just wild. It's so much wild stuff. Yeah, we didn't even barely. We didn't things. I'm also to close a note outside of this. Things I'm thankful for. NBA NBC presentation, like
Yes.
our childhood. 100%. ESPN, you got work to do. However, I will say to ESPN, great job for not taming inside the NBA. Glad inside the NBA is remaining inside the inside the NBA like it used to be. Studio, everything, that nature, and all that stuff. Even though Chuck tried to kiss ass when he started on ESPN. Different story on that. George
Prime also.
Blaha. George Blaha making the Hall of Fame for broadcasting. I don't think we talked about that.
Yep.
Huge kudos to
50
this.
years.
50 years as the Pistons on there. If there's a definitely the Mount Rushmore of Detroit sports broadcasting, he's up there with Ernie Harwell, George Blaha. Do we do Daniels and Redmond, Adam? Is it what's the Detroit's
You
broadcasting
kind
Mount
of have
Rushmore?
to. You kind of have to.
I mean
I don't know.
Harwell,
There's so many of them. We can go on.
yeah,
We can go on. We can
yeah.
discuss this for another half hour.
But
So,
absolute gem, George Blaha, Pistons voice of all of our thing in there. Well done. May the times continue on that. We will be back soon. For Matt Feldbush, for Adam
Peace.
Hernandez, Garrett Comat's here. No such thing as a final countdown right now because we're in it until each and every day. Detroit basketball, folks. Thanks again for checking out the latest episode of Detroit City Sportscast. For more of this type of content, go to detroit.themajorsports.com where you can see not only this, but all prior episodes of Detroit City Sportscast, along with our other Majors Detroit content, whether it is the Mullen over Detroit Sports, any of our post-match recaps, or Make City Make Spends and Channel 451 for our Detroit City-centric content. Additionally, we are on YouTube at The Majors TV. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we're on social media. Twitter and Instagram, we are at TMSNX Detroit. Blue Sky is TMSNXDetroit.bsky.social. Also, we are on Facebook at The Majors Detroit. And if you check out your podcast in audio form, you can find us at The Majors Detroit. Be sure to hit like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way towards helping out everyone here at The Majors Detroit in their efforts. Thanks again for checking this out. Catch you later.